What's up, you guys? It's Julian, and today I'm super excited to be showing you how to make hard trance techno like Hit Me Low. You guys have been requesting this one for a minute. Here we are. You can get this full template at the top of the description on my website. You can also get it with our ES Pro subscription service. Definitely check out both of those at the top of the description. Thanks for the support, guys, and let's get going. Alright, so we're at 164 BPM, a bit faster. Honestly, I thought this stuff was like 160 when I was hearing it, but yeah, I think they're pushing it up to like between 160 and like 180 BPM even if you want, right? So it actually is a bit faster. First thing we got is this kick. So this is a nice fat hard techno kick that I'm processing a little. Here's without the drum bus. With it. Without. With it. So it just makes it a lot tighter, a lot more full, and quite a bit punchier as well. If you bring the transients down, it can really help with that. The other thing I'll talk about here too is this little cutout like in the middle. You know, it's kind of like, you know, these are really simple tracks. It's pretty much, you can hear everything in one go that's happening. So to give it depth and to give it like some movement, you use the really simple elements and do kind of different things within that, right? Like, you know, usually in a rolling, like, hard techno trance track, you wouldn't just take the kick out at random times like that. But you can do it here, and it gives it a bit more life when it's these really simple, kind of basic tracks, right? So then we got our bass line. Simple, trance bass. The note length is very important though. I played around with this a lot. Like you can see if we start to bring it back up to like the default. See, it doesn't groove as well. Right, but then if you make it all like too short, then you just sort of get like this. You know, so you really play around with the note length. It's really important. For the actual sound on this one, it's made using operator. So what we're doing is it's a saw wave with a little bit of FM from a square, an octave up. So this is like, it looks like a little bit, but it makes a big difference. If I start turning this knob up and down like tiny amounts, check out what happens. You can see it makes, like with this FM, you know, really subtle changes like that make a big difference. Right? So we're just keeping it there at 42 dB or minus 42 dB. I've got a low pass filter with a little bit of an envelope on it, which is really short and punchy. And the resonance also is another thing with these kind of basses that doesn't seem like it's making a big deal, but here's without it. And with it. So yeah, like where you set that, all these little tiny things really matters. These basses seem really simple, but it's actually like you're spending a lot of time working on these tiny details. This also cuts out here. So you can see the kick and bass are doing a lot in the track. If you make them disappear, that can kind of make it feel like a whole different moment, right? Then we've got our main hi-hat. I got two layers. I've got this open one. And then this more punchy, sort of like shaker-esque hi-hat. I've also pitched these. And then when you put them together, you can just hear it creates a really great punch. If I get rid of the punch layer, and then bring it back in, you can really hear how important that is. We got this little hi-hat. Right, you can hear just on the 16th notes. This is really simple. It's just a little hi-hat. And then I'm using this auto pan to make it sort of bounce off the kick as if it's being sidechained. Then we have two little drum loops. You can hear they're really quiet. You really don't want that much of these loops here. It's not like hard groove or something like that, right? But if I play you like all of the drums without these, and then with, It gives life and kind of like a more organic presence to the drums that goes really well, right? Like it still feels very rigid because as you can see, you know, we are affecting this pretty heavily. We're cutting out all the low end. I'm using an auto pan to make it sidechain to the kick, and it's a really powerful one, right? So it's like you're not even hearing that much of it. But they just give you that extra life. And then this one's being high passed as well. And you can see, yeah, this one's down even lower. Then we have this little hi-hat. Just playing eighth notes. I noticed that, like a really short little hi-hat like that going can really help. You can see I brought down the sustain on this one. And then we have a clap. This clap is a much longer sample. Like if I turn up the release. What we're doing is we're just playing these short little notes and you just get a really tight punchy clap. I think with these tracks, you know, if you're going to have this like really tight short kick, and even the hi-hat's pretty short and the bass line is really short, you want the clap to also be short. Then we have our vocal.
Break, what's a break down, yeah, bitch, I'm working, bitch, I'm working.
So it looks like there's a lot of processing on this. If I turn it all off, it sounds like this.
Break, what's a break down, yeah, bitch, I'm working, bitch, I'm working. Break, what's a break.
You see, yeah, the processing does a lot, but it's really the chop and the original vocal that you're working with. I took this vocal, I pitched it all up +7, and then we're just cutting it really tight on the grid with these like eighth note cuts.
Break, what's a break down.
You know, where it's like dun dun dun, you know.
Break down, yeah.
And even over here, it's like dun dun dun.
Bitch, I'm.
You know, we're kind of like bouncing off the kick and bass with that.
Bitch, I'm working.
Right? So, really, you want to find like a good vocal phrase that you can chop before anything. I think pitching it up a little bit and then chopping it and then doing the processing. So, then we've got just a bit of EQ, cutting out all the lows and low mids and then boosting the highs a little.
Break, what's a break down, yeah, bitch, I'm working, bitch, I'm.
I have this echo, which is really subtle, but you can hear it kind of gives us a bit of stereo width.
Break, what's a break.
What it's doing is the left and right ear are on the same time, which is like really fast, but you have it on the ping pong setting, and the filter's basically not there, so it's like
break, what's a break down, yeah.
Basically like a stereo doubler. I've got a bit of overdrive, although it's only at 50%, and the drive is down a lot.
Break, what's a break down, yeah, bitch, I'm.
You can see it's really just more like kind of filtering the sound more than anything. We got another high pass at the end to make sure the distortion doesn't add anything nasty.
Break, what's a break down.
And the last thing I think really helps this is the auto pan with the side chain and just making it, you know, bounce off of the kick like that. I think that adds a lot to the
break, what's a break down.
The groove. If we turn it off,
break, what's a break up.
Right.
Break, what's a break down, yeah, bitch, I'm working, bitch, I'm working.
So then after that, we've got our lead. So yeah, this is kind of like some Eurodance type of stuff, right? It's very influenced by that. If I turn off the effects, right, so this might seem complicated. It's really simple. It's just creating this kind of rhythm, right? And then, you know, really playing with the note lengths. Like you can see that one note that's longer, you really feel it. And then when these are longer, you really feel it, right? And then it's also the call and response. You have your call, and then you have your response, right? It's like the first bar is a call, second bar is a response, third bar is a call, fourth bar is a response. But then there's call and response inside of there too, because like this is sort of a call and this is sort of a, right? So there's a lot of call and response happening. That's basically the magic. It's call and response, creating that rhythm before all else. Like I made the rhythm, which is one note, and then found where the note should go. And then on top of that, I think it's just knowing the notes in the scale. Like if you look at this, we're actually only using 4 notes from the scale. We're just using C, F, G, and G sharp, right? So it's actually not that crazy. I mean, if you look at this musically, it's like the root, the 3rd, the 9th, and the 5th, right? But it's a lot of different things coming together to make it sound complex. But the actual sound, even that is really simple. It's just a saw wave. I've got a low pass with a nice punchy envelope on it. And then shimmer unison, right? You know, again, we're just trying to get that nice classic Eurodance kind of lead. I've got an auto pan sidechain and a high pass filter. Again, I think just like the vocal, this one really relies on the sidechain for the groove.
Break, 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 break down, yeah, jump, work, jump.
So that's going to be it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed. As always, make sure to like this video as well as subscribe. Let me know what you think of this video in the comments. You can get this full template at the top of the description on my website while it's available. Thanks for the support, everybody, and I will see you tomorrow with another video.